And there's no need to wait no longer. You know what I'm saying? Blah. What's going on? This is ShanGO Right, aka Youre Right, and I'm back. We have a video today dealing with the new moon energy. Okay, we're right on the heels of the new moon as of the time of this recording. This particular new moon is in Libra. Okay, hence the pink shirt. All right, so you know this reading may or may not resonate. It's going to reflect. I'm not even going to show cards this time because it's really not about the cards. It's about what the information is. Does it resonate with you? You know, some of this reading came through kind of for some of you like it's going to be a forecast type of reading. You know, others it may include both, kind of what's going on now and what you can anticipate. And we're going to get into some things, okay? But before we do, like, share, subscribe, and thrive. Like, share, subscribe, and thrive. And if I forgot to mention, like, share, subscribe, and thrive in that order, the order of operations. Now, for those of you who are serious about a whole new perspective, a whole new way of attracting, creating, generating, and just becoming the wealth that you want, especially those of you who are, you know, interested in building up that bag, but also using spiritual principles, spiritual power, then this MUERTE MULAH ancestral talisman is for you. Now, there's only about 3 left. So get it while the getting's good is what I can say to you. But this particular talisman is constructed with Santísima Muerte, and it's not just about getting you more money. What about also the wisdom and, like I said, the spiritual power? This also deals with ancestral wealth. Many of you are owed ancestral wealth and don't even know it. You got money that is essentially trapped and can't get to you. Well, this talisman will allow you to create that bridge so this energy can come into your life finally. Okay, so without further ado, oh, by the way, link in the description box for that. Without further ado, let's get into the reading. You know, this thing kind of came through several different ways for me. Number one, there seems to be a theme. I'm going to address the first side that I got though first, because it kind of won't stop bothering me. So that's how I know I probably need to address this first. Okay. I seem to keep feeling this theme where, and I know we happen to be in a retrograde too at the time of this recording, where we revisit things, maybe old things come back. I have this feeling like this is a time for some of you. If this is resonating for you, then I'm pretty sure that you're going to attract this video or somehow resonate yourself to this information. But I feel like this is a season of ghosts. And it's funny because it happens to be October, you know what I'm saying? And when the veil is like at its thinnest. So it's kind of apropos, I guess you could say, that we're talking about ghosts in October. But as far as this goes with Libra, when I say ghosts, I mean ghosts of the past, particularly ghosts of love, okay? Because I think the cards are showing here, but what I'm seeing here too are the ghostly residues of either a love or loves from the past that seem to be affecting you, or some of you. And the kicker about this is it's probably in ways that you are not really aware of. I feel so many of us right now are like in this weird trance. I don't know if you feel like you're in a weird trance sometimes, and it almost feels hard to break out of it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you almost become conscious that you don't feel like you're fully awake or conscious, you know. But having said all that, like I said, number one, I think like this theme of old relationships. It wouldn't surprise me if some of you though had a visit or some type of interaction with somebody from the past, be that a recent past or maybe even from before. But whatever, whether it was recent or from long ago, it definitely had an impact on you. It was definitely, I guess you could say, a definitive, a defining experience for you, whether you choose to classify it as that or not. Okay. I see a lot of different emotional issues going on. You know, Libra, I guess, is all about also, you know, relationships. But I could tell that this energy right now is going a bunch of different ways. The other demographic, what I'm seeing is something that you love is coming to an end. You know, the chapter, the book is closing now, okay? Because it is time to move forward, to move on to something else, okay? Another theme that I'm seeing a lot here is, believe it or not, is comfort zones. I feel that a lot of us, and you may have become aware of this, which is a great thing because a lot of people do not become aware of their comfort zone, which can actually also act as a prison. You know what I'm saying? But to actually like snap out of it and see what's going on, okay? You might be stuck in a particular kind of a rut or a certain way of doing things, yet you claim, or there's another side of you or a different part of you that wants something else. Maybe even your spirit's trying to say, hey, come on this way, you know? But those comfort zones are very difficult to escape, as you probably know. You will find behavior kind of classified as like self-sabotage so that you can remain in your comfort zone, okay? So let me give you an example of that as far as what that may look like for you, or just some examples that may spur something up to you, okay? For example, maybe you've been single for a long time, or whatever the case is. Now you want to move on. You know, it's time to start, you know, and that's another thing Spirit was telling me, and I'm passing this on too, because I feel like this does go along with this whole comfort zone thing, is don't get stuck in making a living and forget to live a life. I don't know who that's for, but don't get stuck. You know, have some things that you just enjoy, like get out and live some, you know. I think part of that routine for many that may be seeing this is just that. It's just a routine, and there's no stopping and smelling the flowers. There's no, you know, some of the enjoyment of just the things that you can enjoy while you still can, you know. It's like eating and not even being conscious that you're eating, and you don't even know. It doesn't even feel satiating because you wasn't even mindful that you were eating, you know. Where was I at now? Oh yeah, but let's just say you go to Youre Right. So you start trying to set some things up, but then every time you get real flaky, you know, and you basically enable yourself to just go back to your comfort zone, back to your cave or whatever it is, right? Same thing with if you're trying to do or expand your business or start a business or do something different, maybe get a different job or something like that. But every time it comes down to actually, like, you know, filling out the applications or, you know, going online, looking around, doing stuff, going to job, whatever it is for you, you know, it seems like there's an invisible force that makes it to whereas you almost can't even get there. You know, something happens, you oversleep, whatever, you miss the job fair, you don't go on the date, you don't take the chance, you don't take the shot, is what I'm saying. You don't take the shot. All your behaviors are basically, if you look back, all your behaviors, a lot of them, most of them are the same. And yet we as people want new shit. But the kicker is there is no new shit without some new shit. Meaning you doing some new shit, disrupting your patterns. You know, what's even the probability of what you want finding you if you stay in your rut? Your rut is the rut of somebody who does not have that, who is not that which you claim that you are, that you want to do, and that you want to have. However that falls for you, right? But don't get it fucked up. We're still getting into this. I am seeing a lot of different relationship things. So I do suspect too, and I have this feeling that for some of you watching this also, it's going to be the end of a relationship. And if it was already ended, you know, maybe you're doing the back and forth dance, which a lot of couples do. You know, I like to call it the snapback effect, you know. You know, though, when something's done, because there just is no more, you know. You can play them games, and, you know, I've been in plenty of relationships where, you know, it's like we're not together, but we act like we're together. Or we continue to see each other for months and months and months and months and months and months. But yet we're not, you know, but we're acting like it, kind of, sort of, you know, all that shit. So some of you also need to clean out your closet as far as even that goes, you know, because really a lot of that is just old clutter, you know. When you're in different stages, depending on what stage you're in and what the relationship is to you, I'm getting a lot for a lot of you that some of these relationships in your life is just clutter, you know, and you're comfortable with it though. That's the problem, you know. Shit, for all intents and purposes, it's time to make some new clutter, man. You know what I'm saying? It's time to make some new clutter. So I am seeing that. Don't be surprised if within the next few days, maybe even to the next week especially, you find yourself very restless also. Maybe not even, and also not feeling emotionally secure with either some of your existing relationships, or if just stuff from the past is coming up again and you don't understand why you happen to be feeling it, because maybe there is no outside stimulus to make you feel like that. So I think that there are some of these things from the past. And for many of you, I think it's going to be regarding one person still. I know nobody likes to hear that, but that's going to keep bothering you, all right? They're also telling me this too. Some of y'all need to I get it. There is tough love. And there is a time, and I think tough love is best said more or less. It's just you being firm with yourself, right? But there's a total difference between being firm and also being cruel, being very negative, and being very pessimistic. And anytime you're thinking you will never do this, you'll never be this, you ain't gonna, you know, stuff like that. To me, that's cruel, because you're basically binding a curse to you throughout time. You know, if you language it differently, you could start to deconstruct it, you know. So you could even say, up until now, I've had a challenge with this, you know, blah, 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 the next part. You know, but I see also some negative thinking. I feel like some people, I guess you could say, some people are going to be going through some things also mentally. I see a lot of people judging themselves, especially because maybe of their reaction, because maybe these old ghosts also trigger behaviors that you may not be understanding because you're not understanding the source. And what we're really talking about is something else, yet another thing, yet another thing that, you know, it never ceases to amaze me that you need to work with, that you need to, I guess you could say, accept, first of all, that it's there, and just, you know, kind of let it go. Kind of let it go, because whatever this is, it's showing up here in this reading because it is affecting you, and it's going to continue to affect you. However, I look at it now like, okay, if something's coming up, then that is actually a great fucking thing, because this is now an opportunity. Maybe this is something you would have never just sat down and chose to work with, but since it's coming up, now you have the opportunity. Now you have the vision. You can see it now. You can feel it. Hey, what is this? Okay. I have another off point too, and I don't like usually saying this in readings, but I do feel like, some of you may have experienced a loved one transitioning. I don't like, it's a part of life, you know what I'm saying? But just out of the sensitivity for you, the viewers, and depending on what, but you want to be careful also about this negative type of thinking, especially when you start thinking like, oh, I'll never do this. Or maybe let's say you sabotage yourself, right? Because of whatever's going on back to your comfort zone. And you think, you know what? I'll never be able to do this. I'll never, whatever. You definitely also want to be careful of that, because I see also for some of you, there is a good chance that you could start getting into this dip, this emotional dip, this change of heart. And to me, honestly, this change of hearts, it feels like hopelessness, okay? It feels depressive, okay? So I would say, you definitely want to stay aware of what the hell is going on inside of your head. The conversations inside of your head are very important, all right? The most important ones are the ones you can't hear. I know that sounds oxymoronic, right? But those are the ones that are making things what they are. So you can find them, you can shed light on them, you can change them, okay? So just so you know. I feel too that for some of you, there's going to be another karmic relationship showing up. This one could be from the past too. I feel like this whole retro thing is a real retro thing, I feel some of you may even be triggered by the re-emergence of somebody from your past, all right? It may be confusing. It may bring up feelings buried alive that never did die, that you thought you were over, but it's also going to bring up some of y'all's emotional baggage. So for all them times that you find yourself, and if you're honest with yourself, and we've all done it, but those times where you're acting like a straight up asshole, or you are being immature, or you're being like, petty, spiteful, and all this other shit. Yeah, it makes a cute meme to say that you're petty and all this, but let's look at the underlying, goings on of what would make somebody even act petty, childish, stuff like that. These are emotional baggages, okay? This is what's also just called baggage. You got a lot of baggage. You ever heard somebody say that? You know what I'm saying? Like you got a lot of baggage or something. So this is what they're talking about, because this baggage is also what gets triggered when, you're dealing maybe with somebody new or whatever, or just in your own life, okay? In your own life. I got to say this too. Be mindful of how you walk through the world, all right? Be mindful of how you walk through the world, because what I mean by that, this is like, I have this suspecting feeling, man, that like some of you, it's almost kind of like right now, you're in the instant karma round where whatever is going to initially come back rather fast. I'm just saying, what you reap, you reap what you sow. So be careful, just be mindful. That's the better word. Be mindful of what you are sowing, especially with your relationships. Do you know you're full of shit? Are you acting like a piece of shit? Are you playing the role of a piece of shit? Are you being straight up? Are you walking through your life, through your world with integrity? Even if that's integrity to something that is not desirable, right? Let's just say I'm an asshole, right? And to the rest of the world, they think that's not too desirable. But hey, at least I'm honest. I feel, you know what? I'm an asshole. So I'm being honest with you about it, you know? Don't get dismayed by things that you think are going to go or become or start in a certain way, and they don't. Number one, delays are not denials, okay? Anytime you are shifting from one paradigm to another, you're going to experience what some would describe as a test, okay? So you might meet with some temporary setbacks, some feedback. That's the word I'm going to use from now on. I'm not going to say failure because it's not a failure. You just learn something. You can learn something from every step of the way, no matter what it is that you're doing. If it's a spiritual practice, if you are in the process of attracting an ideal lover or lovers, if you're starting a business, if you are, changing your body, whatever it is, you're going to be tested. And what that test looks like, a lot of times, it's like false starts. You want to be careful about the false starts only for this reason. You don't want to crap yourself out. Too many people, they're basically, in my opinion, in some ways, emotionally unstable. They're not grounded. So when even a hint of something, let's say, they begin to do something, and here comes something that looks like it's going to be the one. This looks like it's already going to manifest. Oh, whatever. And it turns out, it don't. Don't get dismayed about that. You are being tested and you are being watched, okay? To see, is this what you really want? Is this what you really want? Hell, even your subconscious mind tests you. Because it's looking, it's peeping. It's like, okay, is this motherfucker serious about it? Because they're always saying they want this and that, but they don't ever do anything. They don't appear to me to be about it. And remember, your subconscious mind knows more. It knows you better than you know yourself. So if you could, because I always hear that when people say, oh, you're being tested. By who or what? What's testing me? Is there some old man sitting there? You know what I'm saying? With his little paper and pen testing me. But really, honestly, anytime you're shifting dimensions, anytime you're shifting paradigms, realities, there's going to be, between here and there's going to be some tests. All right. My advice to you is to begin to align as many of your behaviors, I don't care how small they are, to this new you or this other you that you can shift to, that you're shifting to, because sometimes it just don't happen like that. Sometimes, or it seems like it. All right. And you want to be as congruent as possible. In order to be congruent as possible, you're going to have to be aware, at least somewhat. In other words, you can't be tranced out all day somewhere else in the future, in the past, but never here. Okay. So I think this is a great time to remind yourself of why you are the shit and why you are everything that you confirm that you are. Once again, the whole concept of selling yourself to yourself is very important. It's a nonstop job, okay? It's not going to stop. You can't do it one time and think that that's going to last the rest of, this is a daily thing. A daily thing. So mean it. Mean what you say and say what you mean in that regards, okay? Some of you, like I said, the clutter, it extends other ways too. You got people around you that are taking your value for granted and not returning it, okay? It's not reciprocal here. Whether they're just taking your time, someone who just fucking takes your time all the, even if it's on the phone, not even in person. You got to cut that shit, man. You got to cut that shit. It's time to plug the holes of wherever you might be leaking. It's time to become more dynamic, more efficient, more effective. If you need to take 2 or 3 steps back to make that happen, that 2 or 3 steps back is worth 10 or 15 ahead. You'd be very surprised. So I would suggest that one makes that step, take these actions on that, okay? And I'm going to say this too. I'm going to end with this. Where we at? God damn. This is a long one. And just check the time. Forgiveness, the whole letting go thing. I think this is playing a big part with this shit too. Because I think the reason why the ghosts come back is because there's something we still ain't let go of. We still ain't forgave ourselves. In other words, we're still judging ourselves. We're still judging somebody else. You know, remember, we're like onions. One layer after another, you can knock them layers out and you think everything is sweet and everything is cool, only to find out a little bit later, oh, you missed a spot. There's still a little bit left here. There's still a little bit left. Don't worry about it. Hey, you know what? Is the glass half full or is it half empty? Great, then. If that shows up, great. That means it's an opportunity to be even freer, which means freer to really work your motherfucking magic. Okay? And besides that, some things are just meant to be put to bed already. Like, it's done. It's done. You know, yes, you made some mistakes. I'm sure others have made some mistakes with you, or maybe they weren't mistakes. Maybe they were just pieces of shit that you made the mistake of dealing with. Whatever the case is, let yourself off the hook. Yes, even forgive them, as hard as that could be. And make sure you have space for those sometimes that you are forgiving. Sometimes you need space in order to properly forgive. It's hard to forgive when the motherfucker's still in your fucking orbit irritating you. You know, so it's harder to do that. But maybe, who knows? Who am I to say? Maybe that's the conditions that you need to be able to learn how to forgive under. I'm not sure. But this whole forgiving is basically just accepting that, hey, whatever happened, happened. However you feel is how you feel. Letting yourself off the hook, because you are always most critical with yourself than you are with anybody else. And then, of course, yes, letting whoever else, you know, letting that shit go. Okay, doesn't mean you got to deal with them. Doesn't mean you got to anything. It's just you're letting yourself go. You're releasing yourself. You're giving yourself the key to get out of that cell so you can go forward with what you need to do. Period. All right. So that is what I have for you. Yeah. Also, one last thing. Just for some of you, don't know who. Just use your discernment when meeting new people, when having new people no matter what, under what umbrella that they come into your life. I'm not saying to be super sus about everybody, but definitely be having this third eye open and watching, observing, okay? The reason I'm saying this is because I feel like there could be a current of what you could explain as like fuck boys and girls, okay? Not everybody, not all the glitters is gold, and you know, just make sure that you're using your discernment as it in regards to who you allow in your whole circle, all right? Keep your circle tight, all right? This is ShanGO Right. Peace.